The power company, our electric and gas company, is responsible for everything from what's called the weatherhead. If you've got overhead lines coming from a telephone pole to your house, well, they're responsible for everything from the weatherhead to the pole.
You're listening to 5 Hour Real Estate Week, where you'll learn to consistently buy real estate in only 5 hours a week. So if you're ready to invest in real estate, achieve financial freedom, and own the lifestyle you deserve, even with your job, this is the show for you. Now, here's your host, Mike Butler.
Hello, fellow investors, and welcome to the 5 Hour Real Estate Week podcast. And today's topic, we're going to talk about storms and tree limbs and trees and all this. And you might not know this stuff because I found out the hard way and I did a lot of things wrong before I got good at what I'm doing. So let me give you an example. We just had a rash of monsoons here locally in my town. And I know it's been all over the country, especially the Northeast. They've had a lot of floods and storms and wind and all this stuff. I haven't heard the word tornado thrown around too much yet. But anyway, after one of these storms, one of our great residents sent in a work order request with photos. I've trained them to take photos too. And so they take photos. They said, oh, tree in the front yard fell over and it's blocking the street. Okay, so I look at the photos, and if you can envision with me, because I can't show you the photos, but if you can envision this with me, let's just take an established neighborhood. You know, you got a blacktop street, and you got houses on both sides. They're not too far apart, maybe 5 or 6 feet apart. Homes built maybe in the 50s or so. And they got a chain link fence around the front yard. And this tree is sitting inside of the chain link fence, about smack dab in the middle between the sidewalk to the front porch and where the outside fence line is. And so the photos she sent in is pretty good sized tree. Let's say the bottom of the tree might be 2 feet in diameter. Okay, so it's a pretty good sized tree. It's not a little sapling or something. And the photo she sent, well, she took a picture of the tree itself and it's split down the middle. And then she takes a picture looking up at the power line going from the telephone pole to her home. And it's got a decent sized limb laying on it, maybe 6 inches in diameter at the base of it where it split and broke off. And then she has a photograph of the limb laying out in the street. Now, I was under the impression this thing was going to be blocking the whole street, but that's not the case. It blocked about half the street. So what are you tempted to do? Well, you're tempted to call your handyman and see if he can't clear the street or something like that. But there's something that caught my eye, caught my ear, caught my brain. Whoa, we got a limb on the power line. Okay, that's a whole different animal there, boys and girls. Here's why. Because in my town anyway, the power company, our electric and gas company, is responsible for everything from what's called the weatherhead. If you've got overhead lines coming from a telephone pole to your house, well, they're responsible for everything from the weatherhead to the pole. So that electric line that is suspended going from your house to the pole, that's their responsibility to maintain it. Well, maintain it, there's a little bit more that goes with it that the average bear doesn't know. Even homeowners don't know this. Well, if you've got limbs laying on that, it's the power company's responsibility to keep all that clear. Okay, so you may have noticed in your travels around your town or what have you, if you've got trees in your town, you'll see where these tree companies go around and they just destroy trees to get them all back away from power lines that are going up and down the street. Well, those vendors that they hire to do that, they really don't pick on individual homeowners, okay? Now, if you've got a nice homeowner that's got a good gift of gab, they can go out and I've seen this happen too many times. They'll tell that tree guy, hey, can you cut this tree down for me while you're out here? I'll give you $100 for it. Well, if you get a real tree company to cut it down, it might be $3,000, but they might cut it down for a couple of bucks. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's just the wheeling and dealing in there. So here's what we did. So the city has a responsibility to keep the streets clear. So we can call the city and they'll send out one of their government employees to come out there with a chipper truck or whatever it is, and they'll chop up that limb and then throw it in the chipper truck and haul it off. So that took care of the limb that's in the street. Now, we got a limb on that power line. Now call the power company, and the power company will come out and remove that limb off the power lines, and they should clean up whatever might still be lingering around that power line, okay? Now, I don't know the results of what we've got, but I'm sure the city removed that limb. I'm sure the power company came out, sent their tree people out to do all that. And now we've got that tree in the front yard that's split. Okay, so what do you do with that? Well, I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, so if it's not presenting a danger, okay, or health hazard to anyone as it is, I'll wait for that sucker to die, or I'll wait for that sucker to fall over, and then maybe insurance can pick it up. But if it is dangerous, if that tree that's split is dangerous, you need to get somebody over and I'm not going to say remove the entire tree, but cut it back enough so that there's no danger. Because if it is dangerous and somebody can prove that you knew it was dangerous, your insurance won't pay if somebody gets injured, because that's called negligence. And so you need to avoid that. So that's just a simple short take on storms. And think about that. Also think about when, I'll get into ice storms later. Adios. Have a good day. Let's make some deals. Bye-bye.
Glad you joined us for another episode of 5 Hour Real Estate Week. The best thing you can do now is put this information to action. To help you get started, Mike created a free resource for you called How to Buy 50 Houses a Year, Even with Your Job. Download it now by going to mikebutler.com/50 houses. And we'll see you on the next episode.